Hey YouTube, it's Jordan. I'm just doing my NFL Week 3 spread predictions. So, first game of the week, Tennessee at Jacksonville. Now, this is an interesting game because Tennessee Titans lost by 2 points last week and Jacksonville Jaguars lost by 1 point. The way I see this game playing out is that it's going to be a low scoring game. Two good defenses, obviously. And, Jacksonville is playing their backup quarterback behind Nick Foles. He's injured. Minshew. And the thing about him is that he played really well against the Texans. He actually played great. They only lost by 1 point, 13-12. But Tennessee has been playing out of this world. And even though they lost last week, I know they lost, they played great against the Browns week 1. And in my opinion, Tennessee Titans are a much better team than the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so when I look at this spread at -1.5, I think to myself, I gotta take the Tennessee Titans. So Tennessee Titans -1.5. Denver at Green Bay. This is a very interesting game because the Green Bay Packers have won 2 games and the Broncos have lost 2 games, and that's why the spread is so large at -8. That's why I'm taking the Denver Broncos at +8. And the reason why is because the way I see this game playing out is the same way I see the other game playing out. Defensive heavy. Green Bay's defense has been playing well. So is Denver's. I just think that this is going to be a close game. I just don't think that Green Bay is going to dominate. I know they're playing in Green Bay. That means nothing to me. If you're playing in Green Bay in December or January, big deal. Playing in September, who cares? That means nothing. It's not -10 degrees in September. So I'm taking Denver +8. Detroit at Philadelphia. This is another very intriguing game because Detroit beat the Chargers last week. That's a good team. Chargers are a good team. They're not a scrub team. And Philadelphia has been playing so, not as good as I thought they would, but they're playing all right. But the thing is I like Detroit at +7. And the reason why I like them is the complete opposite of these other games. Not defensive heavy. I think this game is going to be offensive heavy. I think that, when you have a team with Matt Stafford passing to Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones and Kerryon Johnson, that's a good offense. And when you have Philadelphia, Carson Wentz hasn't been playing as good as I thought he would, but he's a good quarterback. And, Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Aguilar, these guys are good. This is going to be a good offense, both of them. And I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than people think it's going to be. But at the same time, it's not going to be like, Chiefs Rams, but it's going to be a good game. But I think that when you look at this spread at +7, I can't take Philadelphia at -7. That's just too much. They have to win by 8 points. That's just too much for me. I'm going to take the Detroit Lions at +7. Baltimore at Kansas City. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, so obviously my opinion is going to be skewed, but I know that the Baltimore Ravens are going to beat the spread. They want revenge on the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost to them last year. It was the only loss besides the playoff loss against the Chargers that Lamar Jackson had. And Lamar Jackson has been playing out of this world. He is on fire. Kansas City, they lost Tyreek Hill. Obviously, they don't have Kareem Hunt on the Browns. They lost D Ford to the 49ers. They lost a lot of players. Justin Houston, Eric Berry, a lot of players. A lot of players are gone. Not the same team. So I really like the way that the Ravens have been playing. They're a better team than they were last year, and the Chiefs are a worse team than they were last year. That's the way I see it. And the Chiefs barely beat the Ravens last year, so I'm taking the Ravens at +6.5. Cincinnati at Buffalo. This is another intriguing matchup because Cincinnati at -6.5, or Cincinnati's +6.5, Buffalo's -6.5. Buffalo's the favorite. Cincinnati is one of the worst teams in the NFL. We know that. But are they that much worse than the Buffalo Bills? Because I like Josh Allen. I do. But, John Brown, Devin Singletary, they're good. But Cincinnati, I know, they don't have A.J. Green and Joe Mixon. I'm not sure if he's still injured or not. But Boyd, Ross, these guys are good. With Andy Dalton still healthy, he's still the quarterback. I still like Cincinnati, and even though I don't think they're a great team, I'm not going to bet my life savings on Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to beat this +6.5. They're They're going to beat a +6 spread. At Buffalo, I know it's at Buffalo, but the thing about Buffalo is that it's really hard to play at because it's so cold. You know, Buffalo, New York. It's September. Another one of those things where it's like it doesn't matter. Green Bay, Buffalo, doesn't matter. It's September. So I like the Cincinnati Bengals at +6 at Buffalo. I mean, that is, I would take that any day. I'm not a huge Bengals fan. I'm a Ravens fan. I hate the Bengals, but man, I mean, the Buffalo Bills, they're not the best team on planet Earth. I'm not going to take them on a big spread like that they have to win by a touchdown. So next game, Atlanta at Indianapolis. This is one of my this is the one of the most intriguing games. It has to be the most intriguing game of the whole week because to me, Atlanta's the better team. So why is Indianapolis favored by 2 points? I don't know. Take Falcons. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I actually looked into it. I studied it. I was like, let me figure out why the why the Indianapolis Colts are better. They're favorites. They're not better. The Atlanta Falcons are the better team. They're gonna win. If I was you, I wouldn't even bet on a spread -2. That's a stupid spread. I would bet on the money line. Falcons money line. I have nothing else to say. They're the better team. I don't care if it's in Indianapolis. Doesn't matter. Minnesota -8 against Oakland. Now, this isn't a game I thought that the Oakland Raiders would win, but a -8 spread is a decent spread. I mean, they could easily have a late cover, but I can't bet my money on Oakland. I just can't, in good faith, bet my hard-earned money on the Oakland Raiders. So I have to, even though I don't think they're so much better that they're going to destroy. I'm taking Minnesota -8. They're in Minnesota. The Vikings, even though it's not, well, that doesn't really matter because it's an indoor stadium, so it doesn't matter if it's cold in Minnesota. It's always cold in Minnesota, but it's an indoor stadium. I think that there's going to be a lot of fans there cheering them on, though, for sure, doing the skull chant. I think that they're going to dominate the Raiders. At least win by 10 points. I say they'll win by 10 points, but -8. I'm not going to bet my money on the Oakland Raiders. I'll take the Vikings to win by about 10 points. So -8, yeah, I'll take the Vikings. Then it gets into the weird stuff. It gets into the very, very, very weird stuff because New England -22.5. Ooh, against the Jets. I wouldn't do it. I love New England. Antonio Brown, Tom Brady, so good. -22.5. I know they won 43-0 last week. That's why the spread's so big. I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't bet on the Jets, but I wouldn't bet on New England to win by 23 points. New England's gonna win. I don't know how many points they're gonna win by. Stay away from these large spreads. Now, saying that, the next game, Dallas -21 against the Miami Dolphins. Bet on the Dolphins because the only reason why this game is so large of a spread is because New England destroyed them by 43 points, obviously. But man, Dallas isn't that good. They're not that good. They're a good team. They're balanced. I like them. They're not that good. -21 against the Dolphins. I know the Dolphins suck. Everyone knows the Dolphins suck. I'm not, they're going to beat -21 spread. This isn't a college game. So I would stay away from the New England. I don't know what's going to happen with New England Jets. I think the Jets, if I was going to bet money, I would bet on the Jets to beat -22.5 spread. I mean, that's crazy. And I'm definitely betting on Miami Dolphins to beat -21. I mean, that's a lot. So yeah, Dolphins +21, Jets +22.5. That's my predictions. But I wouldn't bet on those games. I wouldn't put my hard-earned money on them. I have no clue what's going to happen. The next game, though, Tampa Bay New York Giants at Tampa Bay. -6.5. Now that's an interesting spread because I think the Giants, even though they suck, they're a terrible team. I think that they're good enough to beat this spread. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, I like Jameis Winston. He's good. He's good. I like Mike Evans. I don't know if he's still injured or what's going on with him. Um, you know, good win. I like Ronald Jones and all those guys. They're pretty good. But if I'm betting money, I'm gonna bet on the Giants to at least beat the spread. Maybe not to win the game, but beat the spread. I mean, I don't trust the Giants. I know that they're starting Daniel Jones. I know that for a fact, but I like Daniel Jones. So I'm gonna bet on the Giants to beat a +6.5 spread, if anything. But to me, I would stay away from this game because I mean, Tampa Bay could they could dominate. They could trash them. You never know. I mean, the Bills trashed the Giants last week, and the Bills aren't a fantastic team, so you never know. But I would personally stay away from this game. Both these teams suck, and I wouldn't put my money on either. So next game is the Carolina Panthers at Arizona. Now the Arizona Cardinals, they've been having a tough time. They tied week 1 and they lost week 2 against the Ravens, and they are going to lose week 3. I'm taking the Carolina Panthers all day against the Arizona Cardinals. I don't care if they're in Arizona. It's only -2. That's bullshit. That's a nothing spread. I'm taking Carolina all day. That's an obvious choice to me. I don't understand why anyone would bet on the Cardinals to beat the spread at +2. That's ridiculous. Yeah, Carolina Panthers. I think they're gonna win by a touchdown. Yeah, Carolina. There's just not a doubt in my mind. I don't care what anyone says. Carolina -2. I honestly, I'm telling you, game is gonna end 27-20. That's my prediction for the actual game against the Cardinals. Carolina 27, Cardinals 20. That's my prediction. Anyways, I'm gonna go to New Orleans at Seattle. Now everyone's betting on Seattle because Teddy Bridgewater is playing instead of Drew Brees for the Arizona for the New Orleans Saints, and I agree with him. I think I'm going to take Russell Wilson, Jadavian Clowney, and Ziggy Ansah with that defense. That's good defense. I'm going to take them. I think that the Seattle offense is playing well. I think Tyler Lockett's been playing as good as he should. I think DK Metcalf's been playing better than a lot of people probably would. Um, yeah, I think the Seattle offense is actually a lot better than people think they are, and the defense is obviously good. They just need a little help in the secondary, but maybe they'll get it with Jalen Ramsey. We don't know. But New Orleans, I like New Orleans. They're in Seattle though. That's another tough one. Teddy Bridgewater playing in Seattle in that stadium. That's a toughie. I'm gonna take. I have to take Seattle at home. I have to take them. I think they're gonna win by 6 or 7 points. They're at -4.5. I just trust them. I just trust Russell Wilson more than Teddy Bridgewater. I think most people do. So, LA Chargers versus the Houston Texans. Now, I like the way the LA Chargers have been playing, even though they lost last week in a very low scoring game against the Lions. They played pretty badly last week. I still think they're a solid team without Derwin James. Even without Derwin James, I still think they're a solid team. Houston Texans, also a solid team. Won a close one against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 13-12. Both of those games were extremely low scoring. I guess if I'm betting on the over under, I'm gonna bet on the under based on the 13-12, and then the 13-10. Lions Chargers. I mean that's obviously gonna make me bet on the under, but I like the Chargers. I think they're a better team than the Texans. I do, but Texans at +3. I mean, I imagine at +2 or +1, but +3. The Chargers have to win by 4 points. I don't like that number. To me, I'm going to take the Texans at +3 because Chargers. I mean, every game's been coming down to the wire. Same with the Houston Texans. I understand why the line is what it is, but -3 is too big. I thought the Chargers would be at -1.5. Personally, I thought that's what they'd be favored over the Texans because the Texans are a good team. You know, once they got Laramie Tunsil in, even though they lost Javian Kalani, I think that's what they needed was Tunsil. That's what they needed, that left tackle to support the offensive line and give Deshaun Watson time to pass. Now that they have that, I think they're a really good team. And some of the Chargers, even without Derwin James, but I'm gonna have to take the Texans +3. I mean, I think the Chargers are a little bit better. I think they're a little bit better, and they're at home. The thing though is that at home means nothing for the Chargers. Right now the Chargers at home means nothing. So I like the Houston Texans +3. That's what I'm gonna take. Uh, the Pittsburgh Steelers at San Francisco. Now, I'm a huge San Francisco fan. Not a San Francisco fan, but I'm a huge Jimmy Garoppolo fan. I think he's fantastic. I think even though they don't have a big wide receiver group, Dante Pettis, whatever, they're not a huge, their offense isn't stacked with, a bunch of Antonio Browns. I think they're a really good team. And I think their pass rush with Solomon Thomas and Nick Bosa and all these guys, DeForest Buckner, they're a good team. I just I don't like this -6.5. I think even though Pittsburgh, they're not mind blowing, they're gonna have Mason Rudolph starting. He's kind of average. I don't like this -6.5 number, but I'm not gonna bet my money on Mason Rudolph. So I have to take the San Francisco 49ers at -6.5 and hope they win by a touchdown. I can't in good faith bet on. I can't bet on the Steelers, even though I like, I like James Conner, I like Juju Smith-Schuster, I like the defense, I like what they built with Devin Bush just this year, and I like what they've done, but I just don't think, and now they traded for Minka Fitzpatrick. I'm not sure if he's starting this week. I don't know what's happening with him. That's an interesting, that'll be a developing story. I don't know. I mean, if he starts this week, that'll definitely make a difference. He's a really good defensive player. I don't know if he'll know their defense or whatever, but he's a good defensive player. Still going to take the San Francisco 49ers to be the spread at -6.5. Now we have the LA Rams at Cleveland Browns. This is an interesting game because this year I predicted that the Cleveland Browns would beat the Patriots in New England, and that would be their big statement game of the year. Now I realize that's not going to happen because New England is so much damn better than the Browns. They are just, even though the Browns are good, New England is just better. They're a better team. So now that I've realized that, I realize that this is their statement game. The Browns are going to win this game. They're going to show everyone that they don't just beat teams like, the Jets with Luke Falk. They're going to beat the LA Rams. They're going to do it. I'm telling you guys, if you want to bet on some upsets, Baltimore Ravens are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Browns are going to beat the LA Rams. Those are the big upsets of the week. Rams and Chiefs are good teams. We all know they're good teams. They were good teams last year, good teams this year. They're going to lose this week. So if you guys want to bet on some good money lines, I would take that as a money line. I think it's a solid choice. I don't think there's any other. If I was gonna take another money line bet, I would maybe take the Texans. I don't know what the money line is. I know the spread is -3, but I don't know what the money line is. I think the Texans could beat the Chargers, even though the Chargers are a better team. I think that just it definitely could happen. Obviously, the Atlanta Falcons I think are a better team than the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm going to take them all day to be the Colts. So I'll take the money line on that. Cincinnati Bengals -6. I don't know what the money line is on that, but that might be a good one. I would take. I might take the Bengals to beat Buffalo. I think Buffalo's slightly better, but it could be if it's a good money line. If it's like +250 something like that, I'd take it. Uh, I don't think there's any other good money line bets to be honest besides Cleveland. So those are my spread predictions for the week. But before I go, the Monday night game. This is going to be a good game. Chicago, Washington, because both those teams have not been playing as well as they should have been, but they're still good teams. And so I think that it's going to be a low scoring game. I think that Case Keenum versus Mitchell Trubisky, average quarterbacks, not good, not horrible, just average. I think there's good defenses. Chicago's obviously got a good defense, and then Landon Collins and guys like that in Washington make it a pretty good defense. So I think that even though I like Washington, and if you're betting on Washington, the thing is you got to make sure that Case Keenum's playing over Dwayne Haskins. Even though I like Dwayne Haskins, think he has potential. If I'm betting on them, I want Case Keenum playing, and he is. But I still think Chicago is going to win by at least a touchdown. They're -4 in this game. I think they're going to win by at least 7 points. Even though they've been having a bad season, they are the better team. They're definitely the better team. I don't care if it's in Washington. That doesn't really mean a lot to me. I'm going to take Chicago -4. So, those are my spread predictions for week 3 of the NFL. Have a good week.